All right, we will call the regularly scheduled meeting of the Bryan City School Board of Education to order. Would you please stand for the pledge? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you call the roll, Ryan?
Emily Ebel.
Here.
Cinder Keeler.
Here.
Tom Lingby.
Here.
Ryan Miller.
Here.
Glenn Newcomer. Here. Thank you.
Okay. You have before you the minutes of the last month's meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to be made? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve as presented.
Also move.
Cindra, would you somebody second it, please?
Second.
Emily, call the roll, Rob?
Cindra.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Glenn. Yes. Emily.
Yes.
All right, I'm not aware of any public participation. Do we have some discussion, Diana, on the school calendar there?
Yes, by law, we are now required to host a public hearing before we are allowed to vote on our school calendar. So this month will constitute as our public hearing and answer any questions that the board members may have. And then next month, we will approve the calendar with any adjustments that the board may care to make. Normally in the past, we've presented different calendars to our unions for input and feedback. This year, we did it a little differently. We formed 2 calendar committees, and we worked very closely with both of our unions to come up with the calendar proposal that is before you this evening. We were trying to accomplish 3 goals with our calendar. Goal number 1 was to get educational time for students as much as we could prior to testing. So you will notice that the end of school is moved up a week, and that is, again, is a way for us to meet that goal of having students in session more days prior to the mandated state testing. One of our second goals and third goals that kind of go together was to try and reduce the amount of days that teachers are out of the classroom due to professional development, in-services, planning meetings, and other time that they're pulled away from their students. So you will see built-in waiver days, similar to what we had this year in both September and February. You will see them again in October and also in April. And again, that's an attempt to reduce the amount of substitutes that we have in the district and to get our teachers in front of the students more often. There are no other major or significant changes. There are still 2 weeks built in at Christmas. There is still a spring break. However, I would tell you that there's been some serious discussion about, because of testing being required in both early March and then again in May, that we may look in the next school calendar at possibly reducing some of the spring break. But other than that, you're going to see a typical school calendar. Are there any questions that board members have regarding the proposal at this point?
The only thing I had a question about, graduation is actually over Memorial Day weekend, which it has never been since I've been on the board. So is this something, obviously, if you had committees, they met and they prefer that?
Well, because we moved the end of school up an entire week, it's a balance between, do we move graduation up or do we keep graduation the first Sunday in June, which is, you're correct. It's always been a tradition for Bryan that we graduate the first Sunday in June. We could leave graduation the first Sunday in June. However, there would be a full week of no students, no school.
I didn't know if there was discussion among the staff that, that's a better time for parents and grandparents to travel for graduation. There was not any
There was
discussion about
not.
it at all.
It goes to the music department for rehearsals for graduation, because obviously they would like their students in school right up
Rehearse.
into graduation to be able to rehearse. So that's why we moved it up to coincide with the earlier end time.
Steve, you have any thoughts about that?
We have actually, I don't remember if it was this year or was the year prior to that, we have had some people who've asked us about Memorial Day weekend, for the simple factor that
Their family coming in.
before it's travel.
Yeah.
When Mark and I looked at it, we, it's like, oh, well, this is new for us, so
Right.
we started thinking about it, but we have been approached, have you ever considered it? And
Apparently the answer is yes.
yes.
Okay. Thanks.
But you're correct, Emily, that is a change. Any other questions? So again, we will not vote this evening, we'll vote in January to approve this calendar. And then we will, I would assume we'll go through the same process again next year. We got a lot of good feedback, and it was very helpful to get the input from the employees up front versus at the end of the process.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we will move on to communications, and Sindra, Fort County.
Thank you. It is exam week, and I think the students and the staff, I was actually in the building, Fort County building today. The students and staff are looking forward to their next 2 weeks off after this week of exams. We will be hiring a new treasurer. Her name is Connie Nicely, and she'll take effect in her new position out at Fort County on January 1st. And I'm going to mention a March event, so it sounds probably a little early. It's time to start thinking about our spa day. For some of us, it's a fun thing. I knew I'd get a chuckle out of you. March 16th through the 20th, you can make your reservations now because it does fill up. It's a great opportunity for our cosmetology students to practice and show off their skills. So since it does fill up, they've started announcing that already. That's my update. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. You also have before you professional meeting reports from Karen Meister and Kim Bassett. Any comments or questions? If not, we will move on to the treasurer's report and recommendations. Mr. Rossworm.
We'll start with our financial reports, cash reconciliation report for the month ended November 30th. At Farmers and Merchant State Bank, we had a balance of $7,146,402. Adjustments and outstanding checks for the month, $483,608. Deposits on hand at Star Ohio, $7,225,070, and at Morgan Stanley, $39,732,621. Petty cash and change funds total $7,700. Total fund balance at the end of November, $53,628,184. Of our major funds, general fund balance, $11,174,852. Our bond retirement fund balance was $854,221. Permanent improvement fund balance, $1,962,790. Our LFI building fund was $3,435,785. Our capital project fund, our local share money that we have raised through bond sales was $34,972,815. And our project fund state share, the money we received from OFCC to date, $510,154. Once again, total fund balance, $53,628,184. And our SM2 report, where we compare our budget to actual numbers, our revenues are $75,604 to the good.
That's tight.
Pretty tight. Our expenditures, we were $303,477 ahead of budget. The next section there, it has other financing uses, shows a $100,000 positive variance there on transfers out. I forgot to budget the transfer out line, so we're actually, our total positive variance is $379,081 versus what the report would show. There's a $100,000 difference. I got that plugged in, so next month we should be back on track. Any questions regarding those reports? If not, we'll look at appropriation modifications. Our appropriations for the month ended December totaled $31,189,104. Changes during the month: general fund addition to contingencies was $100,000. District managed activities, we increased by $3,314. Grants, auxiliary service, an increase of $132. In our permanent improvement fund, we increased our bus replacement line by $80,045. That's to replace the school bus we talked about last month that was totaled in the accident. We reduced a couple other budgetary lines, van replacement by $30,000 and architect services by $20,000. So we had a net increase in appropriations in PI of $30,045. Our building project, we had a couple offsets due to some reclassification of expenses that offset each other. And our student activity funds, FCCLA, an increase of $5,000. So total increases for the month of November were $138,491. Any questions on appropriation modifications? If not, we'll move on. Some donations we'd like to mention this month. The Bryan Athletic Boosters donated the sum of $6,245.37 to the athletic department for our weight room program. They also donated $600 for high school swimming program, as well as $1,000 for the high school wrestling program. The Newland Quest Club donated $500 to the Washington and Lincoln Bear Bag program, and they also donated $200 to the athletic department. That concludes that portion of the report.
All right, thank you, Rob. Entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's financial reports.
So moved.
Emily, do we have a second?
Second.
Glenn, would you call the roll, Rob?
Tom?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Glenn?
Yes.
Emily?
Yes.
Cinder?
Yes.
And next on the agenda, next month is first month of a new year. And with that comes an organizational meeting that must be set prior to January 15th by Ohio Revised Code. We'll hold that here in the Fieldhouse Conference Room at 7 p.m. And then they'll follow that with our regularly scheduled meeting. It's the board's duty tonight to appoint a president pro tem for that organizational meeting and set a date for that meeting.
For nomination?
Oh. Pardon?
Do we nominate or do we just volunteer?
I guess you can just do a volunteer basis. I could fill that pro tem part and then we go from there.
We should have a motion and a second
Okay.
and a vote.
Let's talk about the time for the meeting. What date are we going to pick there? How does the 15th fall? Where's
The
15th?
15th is a Thursday evening.
Okay, so
The 12th is a Monday, I
The
believe.
12th is a Monday.
does the 12th work for everybody? All right, let's just set it for the 12th then. All right, and so then let's entertain a motion for President Pro Tem for the
I
organization.
nominate and move for Tom to be our president pro tem of that meeting.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Would you call the roll, Rob?
Ryan?
Yes.
Glenn?
Yes.
Emily?
Yes.
Cindra?
Yes.
Tom?
I'll abstain.
Thank you.
You can vote for yourself.
That one, yeah, what the heck.
That's the least damaging one you might vote on.
All right.
That concludes my report. Thank you.
All right, under old business, OFCC update. Mrs. Savage.
We continue to work monthly. We have core meetings with both our construction manager and our architect, as well as the state comes in. That next quarterly meeting is set for this Thursday, which is a little bit earlier due to the holiday season. Plans continue to progress. We do have a resolution on the board agenda for this evening. Teachers have been invited in to look at the plans, staff members have been invited in. We will have another public presentation in January. I'm finalizing that date with the architects, and as soon as we have that finalized, we'll advertise that date. And at that public participation or public meeting, we hope to have renderings of the outside of the new building, as well as some of the courtyard and site plan.
Okay. Very good. All right, I guess we can move on into new business then.
Okay, again, just a reminder with the annual organization that we'll hold in January, we'll elect board officers, we'll administer the oath to the board officers, we'll establish a service fund, we'll appoint any committees, we'll establish our meeting schedule for 2015, and we'll consider membership into OSBA. Also, with the meeting schedule, we do want to look at maybe some alternate dates for February and March, just due to calendar and staff vacations. So we'll kind of keep that in mind and we'll organize that in January. Also under new business, I would like to talk with the board a little bit about drug testing. Given the newspaper headlines that we've seen over the past few months and the issues that continue to seem to keep increasing in Williams County, I want to at least get the board's perspective on drug testing for some of our students. Approximately 10 years ago, we looked at this issue previously as a district, and at that time, the Board of Education decided not to implement a program. I think that we're in a different time, in a different place. There are, I think, Steve, did you say four out of the 9 of our league schools that are already doing drug testing for their athletes and other students in their buildings? Again, I think it's something that we want to look at, not asking the board to consider and vote tonight, but I would like just to maybe discuss the possibility. Is this something that you want me to investigate further? Are you adamantly opposed? Are you in support, in concept? Do you need more
I
information?
think more information. I have some questions about, what kind of drugs are they testing for? What are they able to find out? Because one of the new hot things is e-vapor cigarettes, which are tough to find. And kids are doing that as well. And is there testing that can look for that? Because we have obviously, besides alcohol and drugs, we have a tobacco policy as well. And so how are we, is that part of what we want to be doing? Is that part of what we need to be thinking about? And do you know, Steve, how the other schools are implementing them? Is it only student athletes? Is it all students?
Archibald just started this school year. But from the information we received, and just casual conversations, they test everybody. Anybody who's involved in an extracurricular.
Any extracurricular?
Yeah, any extracurricular. Some test students who park on campus, some do not. And you asked about nicotine.
Yeah.
And nicotine is, they have a standard panel that they test for. And I know one of the schools mentioned that nicotine is one of the things that's on their standard panel.
Do you have any examples of policies that have been created by Neola?
I'm sure that there are policies that have been created for other schools. Again, that is something that before we launched into a full investigation, I wanted to make sure that the board was at least initially supportive of the idea. So yes, we could get
I guess for my
examples of
benefit,
different.
I would like to see examples
Okay.
of what other school districts are currently using.
And I'm certainly not experienced enough to know, if they do drug testing on Monday, are things gonna show up that they've used over the weekend? Or, how long a period of time is this drug testing good for? Or, can they test something today that they might have used a month ago? And I know that there's probably a broad spectrum of tests that we can use.
Are there any legal liabilities?
For the testing?
Just asking.
Yeah, I guess so.
What is-
Again, when you clarify who you're testing for, or what your parameters are of who goes in the testing pool, that's where you protect yourself legally.
That
Because you
was-
do random testing.
Because you do random, and because whoever goes in the pool, you're not infringing on their public education rights.
Are we obligated for any kind of remediation plan for anybody who would test positive?
Okay?
And can we do random as well as targeted for those
I
who?
don't believe you can target. Do you?
I mean, if there's those who have been found to be under the influence, we can't do testing at that moment.
I don't believe
Okay.
so.
So it'd be
Is it-
strictly random.
Is it strictly random or for due cause or suspicion?
In the situations that I'm aware of, it's strictly random. But depending on how often they do a draw, every time your name goes back in. So
Right.
it is possible that you could get your name drawn
Couple
2
times.
consecutive times
Sure.
or several times in a year.
Could you also set it up so that once you, like, I sign up to play, I'll pick a sport, basketball. Basketball's in right now. So I sign up to play basketball, I get tested. I mean, could we look into something along
Yeah,
those lines
again, the
too?
board would have to,
Okay.
in their policy, say who goes into the testing pool.
Okay.
And that's something we'd certainly need legal advice to make sure that we're non-discriminatory in that.
Correct.
Absolutely.
I think we need, sadly, to investigate further.
Okay.
Yes, I would be in total support of it.
Okay, what I will do is put together a presentation. Again, because we've been down this road once before, part of it will be getting out the old information that we'd already reviewed, see what has changed, what's been updated, consult with legal counsel, consult with our board policies, and bring back to you in the next few months some more specific examples. If you have continued questions, please send those to me, and we can get those in part of the presentation. And I'll be working with Mark, Steve, Chad, and Bryan Arnold as well, as mostly drug testing typically impacts your middle school, high school age students.
Yeah, because I agree with Ryan, if we find somebody that tests positive, then what? You know, we need to be prepared for, if they do test positive, then what's our requirement? What do we want to take on as our responsibility from that moment?
Okay.
Has the state superintendent come down with any kind of opinion on, in terms of
Recommendation?
what they're advising, what they recommend? I mean, to go, take it a step back. I mean, in public works projects in the state of Ohio, you have the drug-free work policy implemented by the governor. And, quite honestly, I have for a long time have been somewhat troubled by the fact that to be able to be employed on a public works project in Ohio, you have to be drug-free. Not that I'm opposed to that, but then I see all these other aspects of, everyday life. People are just totally immune to it and have access to all of the various activities, benefits, and such that are offered by the state. So that's one of the reasons why I'm totally in favor of it. Now, I would think there are some guidelines coming down from some state agency, state governing board. It seemed like they would be a little bit negligent in their responsibility then, but,
I'm not aware of any directive or state recommendation for this type of
And
policy.
it
It goes back to local control, and they want to let the local control and the local boards of education decide what's best for your community.
OHSAA have any recommendations?
Right.
Again, they have
Concept.
guidelines, but they don't have any
Directives.
stance on whether or not you should implement.
all right.
Thank you.
Okay. Under administrative recommendations, as I mentioned earlier, we do have a resolution before you to approve the design development phase review for the elementary pre-K to 5 project. This has been reviewed by the state and also by our
Legal counsel.
legal counsel. And I was also looking for our controlling agent or our owner agent. So it is ready for board approval this evening.
All right, thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution, or to approve the resolution on the design development phase of the school building project?
So moved.
Glenn, do we have a second?
Second.
Emily, would you call the roll, Rob?
Glenn?
Yes.
Emily?
Yes.
Sandra?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
You have 2 overnight trips for the winter sports season, both from the high school wrestling program. One is for a trip to Mansfield for a 2-day tournament where they'll stay overnight in between the 2 days of the matches. And the second is for March, it's a district tournament, and that is pending qualifiers for that tournament, which is also held in Mansfield.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion to approve?
Also move.
Sandra, do we have a second?
Second.
Glenn, would you call the roll, Rob?
Emily?
Yes.
Sandra?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Glenn?
Yes.
Thank you.
You have approval of a third-party service agreement for Title I. We have Title I monies coming to us from Defiant City Schools that are going to service Fountain City Christian School. But because we are the kind of financial managers for that, we have to enter into this third-party service agreement. This has been reviewed by our council. There was approved by Defiance as well. So again, this is money that will flow from the federal government to Fountain City to help pay for Title I services for a student that lives in Defiance and attends their school.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the third-party service agreement?
So moved.
Bryan, do you have a second?
Second.
Emily, would you call the roll, Rob?
Cindra,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Bryan,
Yes.
Glenn,
Yes.
Emily.
Yes.
And also annually in December, we approve our BHS guidance handbook for the next school year. We will be, once we return from the holiday season, we will be fast and furious at getting ready for the 2015-2016 school year. The handbook was shared to you and all changes were marked and highlighted for your review. If there are any questions, I will address those as well.
If not, we would entertain a motion to approve the 2015-16 guidance handbook.
So moved.
Emily, do we have a second?
Second.
Ryan? You call the roll, Rob.
Tom,
Yes.
Bryan.
Yes.
Glenn,
Yes.
Emily.
Yes.
Cindra.
Yes.
For commendations this month, we'd like to recognize our JA Business Challenge Scholarship and birthday finishers, Adam Hug, AJ Yosick, and Kenny Bouclair. Each earned a scholarship from Junior Achievement for their success in the Business Challenge. We'd also like to recognize our Students of Action and our High School Kiwanis Students of the Month. Our Hobie Leadership Ambassadors, Delaney Miley, Delaney Zuber, and alternate ambassador Damon Belts. Our JV Academic League team members, our Varsity Academic League team members, which finished third in our league. We have a long list of Fall Scholar athletes, which makes me very proud, as well as first team league, first team district, and third team All-Ohio recognition for Zach Phillips. Second team league football honors are listed, as well as all district second team and all district special mention. Our character trait this month is responsibility, and we recognize Ike's Top Dogs at grades 4, 5, and 6, along with Students of the Month at grades 7 and 8. Character traits at Washington and Lincoln are recognized for responsibility as well. And our PE Gold Slip winners this month are Dominic Malenga and Malachi Hall and Leanne Ziegler. Our Purple and Gold classroom winners, Mrs. Taylor's second grade homeroom and Mrs. Rathbun's third grade homeroom. And those are our commendations for this month.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll entertain a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendations on commendations.
So moved.
Emily, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Cindra, would you call the roll, Rob?
Bryan,
Yes.
Glenn,
Yes.
Emily.
Yes.
Cindra.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Under personnel, we have a resignation, Ryan Peters, speech language pathologist, effective today, and the board president authorized to execute any documents to effectuate the resignation. And we need a motion on that resignation.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion to accept the recommendation on the resignation?
Yes.
Glenn, do we have a second? Emily? Would you call the roll, Rob?
Emily.
Yes.
Cindra.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Bryan.
Yes.
Glenn.
Yes.
Also under personnel, we have approval of FMLA leave for some of our employees. We have the resignation for the purpose of retirement. Kim Pebble as grade 5 classroom teacher, and that will be effective May 30th, 2015. And Rich Taverny, food service director, 21st Century Grant Coordinator, and that will be effective February 28th, 2015. We have a resignation from Darby Davis as assisting cheerleading advisor. We have a change in hours. This is due to some shuffling of drivers because of our bus driver resignation last month. Dennis Schelt will move to 3.5 hours per day effective December 2nd. Ken Harris to 3.75 hours per day effective December 2nd. And Melissa Loren recommended for the high school lunchroom worker position at 3.75 hours per day effective December 8th. We are still in need of substitutes if anyone is interested in subbing and working every day in our buildings. We do have some new classified subs to approve as well as some new teacher subs to approve, but we will take others.
One thing I talked to some teachers about, some of the concerns for teaching subs is when they have a long-term sub position, the planning and
Yes.
the grading, and that's a burdensome to them. So
Yes.
that makes it difficult. And also having a full day sub as opposed to a couple hours here, and I know you're interested in it, so.
Yes. And then a volunteer for our high school, middle school athletic department, Christy Moore.
All right, thank you. I will entertain a motion for the approval of the remaining personnel recommendations as presented.
Someone,
Emily, do we have a second?
Second.
Cindra, would you call the roll, Rob?
Cindra,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Bryan,
Yes.
Glenn,
Yes.
Emily.
yes.
And then this month, we also have our first reading of our board policy updates. Again, these come from Neola, the company that keeps us in line with all the federal and state changes in accordance with the laws governing education. This is not a vote, this is just a discussion. If you have any questions regarding any of these policies, many of them are due to changes in the law. Okay, and then finally, there's not much legislative finance update coming out of Columbus as they're wrapping up their sessions. There was just released today some information regarding some last minute bills that are going through, but we're pending to see what happens in the House and Senate this month, or this week in Ohio. As we discussed, the January Board of Ed will meet to organize and have its regular meeting on January 12th here in the Fieldhouse Conference Room. Our next Business Advisory Committee meeting is February 18th, and our LPDC meeting is scheduled for April 23rd. And then we'll go around to our administrators, and I'd ask that you come up here so we can get your beautiful faces on camera this month. So Mark, you get to start up. I didn't put an X on the floor, but right there.
Approximately right there.
Good evening,
Approximately right
good
there.
evening. It's always a busy time between the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays at the high school, so just kind of a recap of some of the things that have been going on. Yesterday actually, Sunday, we had our Christmas orchestra and choir concert, which went off without a hitch, and very nice turnout, so very pleased with all who participated in that, as it went very nice. We also did our junior achievement J in a day, if you want to call it that, where we had local business owners and entrepreneurs in our building, and they met with all of our sophomores, and they were kind enough to teach some interpersonal skills, interview skills, soft skills, just business ethics in general to our sophomores, as they're kind of at that point in their high school careers where they need to start seeing which pathway they want to take, whether that's college bound or maybe in the business world. And then, as always, winter athletics are in full force now. A lot of upcoming tournaments over the holidays, 2-day tournaments, both home and away, so come on out and check us out as we're in full swing.
Thank you, Mrs. Cox.
Good evening. I would first like to thank the Bryan Rotary for their generous lunch last Friday with the Bryan City Schools students. It's always nice to see those students and how excited they get for that day, so I wanted to thank the Bryan Rotary. The first graders have their Christmas play this Thursday, the 18th at 6:30 in the auditorium. Please join us. They're going to be having their Christmas/holiday play. We have our character trait assembly this Thursday, the 18th at 1:45. The December character trait is gratitude, and boy oh boy did our students and staff and community pull through for Christmas for kids. Lots to be thankful for. Very proud of the students at Washington and at Lincoln. Washington raised $1,472. Lincoln raised $1,388 for a total of $2,860.66. We, in talking with Mr. Heward, and we wanted to set a goal for our students, and we just weren't sure. We didn't want to set it too high, so we set the goal at $1,800, and the students at Washington and Lincoln surpassed that by $1,000, so which is wonderful. That money stays right here in Williams County and will go to some of our families that attend Bryan City Schools. So this Wednesday and Thursday, Mr. Heward and I get to be Human Sundays. We had to have something for them to meet their goal. So we're going to be Human Sundays. Mr. Small from X98.1 will be joining us on Wednesday at Lincoln to also partake in the Human Ice Cream Sunday. So.
Thank you.
Just a
Mr.
side note
Ford.
on that too, I was asked to either shave my head or kiss a pig, and I said, no way. I'll do the
You've
Human
done the
Sunday
pig,
thing.
right?
Yeah, no way, that's all been done, so, no way, I like my hair. Good evening, again, I'd like to say thank you to the Rotary, it was great, I was there. I know Glenn was there, it was a great time for those children, just to see their eyes light up when they each got a gift. But also for Christmas for Kids, for our staff, our children, our community. What a great thing that we can do for, again, children within Williams County. So a couple things to talk about. Last Thursday, I was not being new at Lincoln, I wasn't aware of some of the programs that go on at Lincoln, but we have a program called Kids on the Block. It's a puppeteer program, outstanding program. First I've seen it. Each of our third grade classrooms got an hour presentation with these puppeteers. It's amazing, you know, you think third graders, they really think that the puppets are the ones that are talking and communicating. And these two ladies are standing behind them and they're doing the talking, but like when the kids ask questions, they're asking questions of the puppets and not of the puppeteers. So quite amazing. I talked about educational disabilities, medical disabilities, children with cerebral palsy. I mean, it was amazing that, you know, what the children could learn from this presentation. So excited about that. It was like one of those little golden nuggets you weren't aware of in the district. That was one of them I like. So we're going to definitely bring that back next year. We did get our fall OAA results back. We're kind of digging through that data now. We had 141 students take the test. We had 74% of them pass the first time through, which left 37 children that are still in that reading guarantee requirement. Of those 37, we have several of them that are on IEPs or 504s. And the good thing about our IET program is that there's really only about 8 to 10 kids that's on that list of 37 that weren't really on our radar. And those kids were the ones that really, I mean, the cut score this year is 394, and those kids were between 393 and 388. So they're right there in the bubble to pass. So I think that's a good thing. I can't speak about where we've been in the past, but I think this is pretty typical. But our IET program is great because we're catching these kids early, and like I said, it's been great, and I've kind of elaborated on that before, but we're still digging through the data, and we're going to offer some programming for these children through our Club program. We're going to do 4 nights a week of 45 minutes of intervention, and this is on top of what we've ever done in the past. But I'm working with Rich and Beth with our Club program to offer that. So these kids are on that 393 to 370, whatever, those bubble kids, we're going to try to give them that extra push to get them where they need to be. So, and I think, like I said, like the rest of the kids are exempt because of IEP or 504. So that was good news, I think, on that front. So thank you.
Okay, Mr. Alston.
Good evening. Happy holidays before I start off. And to let you know, the Rotary program has a big impact, not just in the younger grades, but also at the high school. Our students came back from that, and it's always interesting to talk to them. They come back so excited, so happy about the activities and things that the Rotary have worked very hard to put forward for them. And so we, as you know, not just as buildings, but as a district, can't thank them enough in regards to that. As you know, it's exam week at the high school, so we encourage everybody to get a good night's rest, eat a good breakfast, and we do have breakfast available for students in the mornings. We feel strongly about that, so we encourage them to be ready for that. Christmas for Kids, our students stepped up and helped with Christmas for Kids. We collected over $1,200 in cash donations and 140 toys. So we made a very significant contribution there. Mrs. Bassett would have me taken down if I failed to mention that financial aid night is coming up right after we get back. It is, believe it or not, Tuesday, January 6th. It's at 5:30. It's in room 216. This is a big event for our senior parents because it's the opportunity for them to find out about financial aid packets and college scholarships and so forth. And then also, as you've passed our guidance handbook, at the end of, as soon as we come back, we hit the ground running in regards to scheduling. Right now, students who are interested in going to 4 County Career Center can schedule online. Can start registering for 4 County. That's available to them online. And then we'll do our guidance night at the end of the month. And then we'll spend the rest of the month getting everybody scheduled and in the system and ready for classes for, believe it or not, 15-16.
Just one last side note, because of our principals and mentioning, I was able to participate, thanks to the principals inviting me, in the Christmas for Kids wrap-up. And in total, between all of the buildings, plus the athletic department, Bryan City Schools contributed over $6,800 to the campaign, as well as any additional toys, as Steve mentioned. So that was not included in the grand total. So if we had, over 100 toys donated from the high school, we can assume probably the same at each building. So very proud of our students. I think it's a great life lesson with the character traits that we're trying to teach our students. And as they pointed out, all of the money stays in Williams County and will possibly benefit some of our families within our district as well, so.
I do have something I'd like to present to the board, if that's all right, if I so may. Speaking of character traits, I attend regularly the CAF board meetings, Community Activists for Healthy Families. I have trouble saying that word. Along with Mr. Ospaw, and we're in the process of buying more character trait signs. We have many that have been damaged over the years, bent, just damaged by vandalism. Respect, I've been told, is one of the popular ones that likes to be vandalized often. So I just want to announce that CAF is working towards putting up new character signs around town. And 2 Fridays ago, we had a movie night in conjunction with the Cub Club. Mr. Howard shaking his head. And I don't know how many attended. I helped that night, served meals. We served meals and played a movie, but trying to be...
Easily 200.
200. Trying to be proactive with Cub Club and keeping events going for families here in Bryan, city of Bryan. So just wanted to give a little update if that was okay. I guess I did.
It is fine. All right, if there is nothing else, we do have a need for executive session for just a brief period of time, falling under item A, employment of personnel. So I will entertain a motion to go into executive session. Emily, do we have a second?
Second.
Cindra, would you call the roll around?
Tom?
Yes.
Brian?
Yeah.
Glenn?
Yes.
Emily?
Yes.
Cindra?
Thank you.
Yes.
There will be no additional action taken, so. And on behalf of the board, we'd like to wish all of you a very, very Merry and Happy Christmas with your families. Thank you for all that you've done for the school district the past year and years. And we just look forward to continued success.
You as well, thank you. Yes.